Hey, what's up, my friend? Are you a small business owner that loves God, family, country, and capitalism? If so, you're in the right place. My name is Joshua Latimer. Welcome to the War Plan Briefing. Today, we're going to talk about a formula, a formula to make millions of dollars. Ooh, that sounds so cheesy and internet-y, doesn't it? But what if I told you there is a formula for bigger success? What if I told you you don't have to find or invent success, you have to model success? Would you believe me? I hope so, because it's actually true. Now, people do different little things on their road to riches, but generally speaking, there's certain things that they understand. So my goal in this video for you is to give you 5 simple things, kind of mindset shifts and tactical things you can do that will just give you a bigger result, okay? The first thing you have to acknowledge and understand is that money is really, really important. Hollywood, politicians, the media loves to demonize successful people. You know, how can you love jobs but hate job creators, right? You realize that small business is literally the backbone of the American economy, literally. There's 32 million small business owners, right? 28 million out of the 32 million are 2 weeks away from overdrafting their corporate checking account. Did you know that? This is not a game. The stakes are really high. And I want these 28 million people that are struggling to not struggle as much. And they don't all have to be worth $1 billion, but they could be worth $500,000. They can be worth $3 million. I need that to happen because the vast majority of these people are pursuing their own self-interest, and it's good for everybody else. If you read The Wealth of Nations by Adam Smith, it's this historical, amazing sort of political book. It talks about the invisible hand, and you trying to build wealth for yourself is good, and it's ethical, and it's a net positive on society, because when you build the big fancy dream home, you're employing all these other people. You're buying products and services and hiring contractors and labor. You're going to pay higher property tax, and it all trickles down. Now, are there such things as bad, unethical, lying, horrible people that get rich the wrong way? Yes, but people love to pretend that that's the norm, that that's usually what happens, and it's not true. It's a lie. It's a lie. It's not true. In Hollywood, and see, the reason they want people to demonize wealthy people is because it lets them control poor people. It lets them control poor people by creating a fictitious enemy that lives in the ether. And ooh, it's the rich guy's fault. It's the guy that has a nicer car than you's fault. You know, 100 years ago, a little poor kid on the street would see a businessman wearing a suit, and that little kid would say to himself in his heart, someday I can get there too. Someday I'm going to figure out how to get there too. And today, in a lot of cities, they see a person with a nice car or some material visual sign of success, and they say, I need to eat the rich. We need to tax the rich. We need to kill all the producers. And it's really ridiculous. The first step in the formula to making a lot of money is believing that making money is good, not only for you, but for everybody around you. Yes, you're going to be ethical. Yes, you're going to be moral. Why wouldn't you? Why do I even need to say that? Duh. If you're unethical, you're going to go broke and lose it all and wind up in jail or something. You don't have to do that. Most people that get rich don't do that, but you do have to admit that getting money is incredibly important. People are so uncomfortable to acknowledge the truth and the reality that they need more freaking money. It feels dirty to say it. Why? Why does it feel dirty to say it? It's because of the programming you have, whether it's religious programming or political programming, or it's just the programming from friends and family that are broke, that, you know, money doesn't grow on trees and it's really hard and blah, 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 blah. And, oh, that guy must have screwed someone over to get wealthy. When my kids see a McLaren or they see a Lamborghini, they go, oh, Dad, can you imagine how much value that guy produced? That's what they literally say, because I programmed them with the truth that the material success is evidence that they served some market somewhere. Somebody bought the Scrub Daddy at Walmart from the Scrub Daddy guy, and he got stupid rich off this little smiley face scrub pad, and he should, because it's an amazing scrub pad. You should all give him all of your money when you go buy scrub pads. You will never become that which you despise. And if you believe that money is evil, when the Bible says the love of money is the root of all kinds of evil, very different thing. If you think that money itself is evil, you can't get rich. Why would you become the thing that you despise? It's not going to happen. You have to actually be okay with being rich in the first place. Some of y'all self-sabotage on your money journey, on your change your family tree and your legacy journey because of what people may think about you after you get rich. You are willing to live on other people's expectations all the way into your deathbed, which, by the way, did you know the number one deathbed regret is that I lived my life for everybody else's expectations instead of my own. I knew I was meant for this bigger purpose, made for more, and I didn't do it. And that's the biggest regret. It's actually not that I didn't hug my kids more and spend more time with my family. Believe it or not, study after study, this is the biggest regret. Look, do you know that you were made for more? Do you want to live a life of contribution? Do you want to actually be able to go where you want, when you want, with the people that you love? If you do, you have to admit that you want money in the first place. Money is incredibly important, and that it's okay to be wealthy. Number two, you have to learn how to ask bigger questions and solve different kinds of problems. You know, a lot of small, broke business owners, they say things in their brain subconsciously like, how do I get out of debt? How do I stop struggling? And what they're doing is they're asking really low-level questions to themselves, which yield a particular type of answer. Now, it's not bad to get out of debt. It's amazing to get out of debt. But what your brain does, your subconscious mind will go to work on your behalf to solve the problems that you are focusing on. And you're focusing on little problems. You're focusing on tiny problems. What people don't understand is if they reframed the questions that they ask themselves each day, like, how do I provide my greatest contribution? How can I take my goals and multiply them by 10 and figure out how to still get them done in the same time frame? Even though you don't have the answer and it causes stress to you, your mind will start to work on your behalf. And when you ask better questions, you get better results. You get better answers. You know, what if you had to do the amount of revenue you did last year? What if you had to do the same amount of revenue in 90 days starting right now? What if you had to do that? You would have to solve the problem in a fundamentally different way. One of my former business partners, Brandon Vaughn, had this tiny goal. He took over his dad's company that had existed for decades, and it was doing around $100,000 a year, real small company. And because Brandon was a new entrepreneur, his initial goal was to do like $120,000 in revenue that second year. He built this whole giant business plan, like, well, if I carry the one and I do this, and if it doesn't rain on this Tuesday, with a little bit of luck, I think I can get there. I can grow by 20%. And in his mind, because he was thinking too small on accident, he could hit that goal, right? But it stressed him out. The reality is that 6 seasons into that business, they were doing like $500,000 a month, right? What if he would have been asking bigger questions from the beginning? He probably would be doing $1 million a month. So that's the point. Number one, admit that money is important. Number two, ask bigger questions. Because what you focus on is what you ultimately find. And number three, you need to create a leveraged solution that you can trade for money. Now, if you're already in business, you already have a solution, but is it leveraged? You either have one of two things that you can sell. This is true for all of us. You either have a service or a product. And getting rich, if you want to make millions of dollars, you can do it with either thing, but it is harder to do it with a service unless you turn it into a leveraged, scalable, productized service. Because when you sell services, one of the reasons it's harder for service companies or home service companies to get rich quickly is because you're selling time. And if you're an owner operator, there's only so many units of time that could even be for sale, right? And then you try to hire someone and they quit. You try to hire the next millennial and they show up for a month and then they leave, and then you get discouraged. And this vicious cycle. So ask yourself, in the internet age, is there a product I could create that's more leveraged? Or how do I take my services and reduce how many of them there are, which in exchange reduces complexity? How could I pay people way more than all my competitors so that they never quit? How can I create a better offer? You figure out how to have more leverage so you can scale your labor, scale your sales, and that's how you do it. But leverage is actually the key. There's different types of leverage. Labor is leverage. Software is leverage. You know, systems that you put in your business is a form of leverage. Of course, your own education, your own mindsets and skill sets is also leverage. If you're figuring out how to level up these things and you take the little bit of money you have and you invest into software and equipment that's more efficient, you take some of the money, invest it into higher pay, invest it into your own education so you can understand the economics better. If you do these things, you can create a machine and you can get rich pretty quickly. If you have a product, you can get rich even quicker. You know, for example, we created the Kid War Plan, which is this little journal that we sold on the internet as a family project, teaching my kids how to create value. And it's this little 90-day journal that's handmade that teaches, you know, entrepreneur principles to kids. And we put that out there as kind of a side project as a family. My kids would ship them out and they each had their different job. And Maverick, my son, gets like a royalty in the books, and there's all this stuff. We sold $1 million worth of those things like that fast. And I did it from my home office, clicking on Facebook ad buttons and stuff. Actually, my buddy Chase is the genius that ran the ads. Chase Winslow, shout out. But my point is that a product is more leverage than a service. You can get rich doing both, but start thinking about leverage. So again, number one, money is important. Number two, how do you ask bigger questions so you're solving the right problem, and ask more complex, bigger questions to get different answers? Number three, create a leverage solution that you can trade for money so people will happily give you the money in their pocket for this product or service you have. And then number four, you need to find or build a tribe so that you can get attention. You need to get attention. You need to make a ruckus, or as P.T. Barnum famously said, you have to showcase your elephant. You have to do a dramatic demonstration. You have to take your message on the road. You need to be a charismatic, enthusiastic, Steve Irwin type character for whatever product or service you have. Most small companies market like a mouse. They're quiet, itty bitty little mouse, and they're hiding in the corner eating their little cheese. They're like, please give me more cheese. Please help me pay my bills. I need $500 for groceries. And they're not just this bombastic, enthusiastic, go for it personality. If you want one simple competitive advantage, start being excited about the stuff you have for sale. Why don't we start there? If you can't get excited about it, how is anybody else going to get excited about it? If you don't believe in it, make your product or service better. If you don't believe you're actually better than your competition, actually be better. It's important, right? The product matters, the delivery matters. You don't have to be perfect, but I need you to be enthusiastic. You're giving an enthusiasm transplant every time you're talking about it. You're doing marketing, you're doing sales. It's hugely important. It costs you no money. And I got to ask you, if you can't get excited about what you're selling, why are you in the business you're in? Switch to a different thing. You'll go 100 times faster when you have conviction in your heart for the product or service that you sell. But you need to build a tribe or accumulate people that you can sell that thing to. It's critically important, okay? And then number five, last but not least, you got to keep doing the boring work. Getting rich is boring. You know, startup mentality and startup culture is always chaotic. You know, for us over here at Warplan Studios and all the education products that we're building and all the things we're doing, live events, and I'm going to roll out a podcast as well here shortly. And we have, you know, recession marketing, which is a course. We have a program called Warplan Insiders. All these are new, and so it's messy and broken and chaotic, which is normal. But the idea to get really successful is that you keep iterating and doing the boring work until it gets boring most of the time. And what people do when they're entrepreneurial, rebellious entrepreneur personality types is as soon as it gets boring, they kind of get distracted and move on to something else. The truth is if you do the repetitive, boring, daily, simple tasks over an extended time horizon, you'll get rich. You have a good product, you show up with ethics and honor, you're enthusiastic and passionate about your solution, and you don't stop being like that. If you do that, it'll change your life for the rest of your life. Hey, are you getting value out of these YouTube videos? Let me know in the comments. Do you think that they're really dumb? Let me know in the comments, right? I can take it. Plus, it'll help the algorithm because haters are your elevators. Look, I think we're the best kept secret on YouTube. And if you want a video made on a specific subject, let me know. I'd love to hear your story or your feedback and share this with a friend. Until next time, bye for now.